Gotta put this here, start. And we are going to go live in 5, 4, 3. Shoot, maybe it didn't actually play the thingy. Okay, hang on a second. Let's kill that. Let's fix it. Let's try again. 5, 4, 3.
You're listening to the Converted Podcast, the podcast about the Guild Convert to Raid on Airy Peak, US.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 156 of the Converted Podcast, the World of Warcraft podcast all about the Convert to Raid Guild on Airy Peak, US. Today is August 26, 2019. It's just about 6:20 p.m. Airy Peak local time. Thank you all very much for joining us. Salmisis, why don't you tell us what the audience has in store for us?
In this
what we have in
episode,
store
we
for
have
the audience.
Thanks, Barf.
It's the
In
opposite
this
of what I
episode, we have Vanilla Hype, your converted shoutouts, Turarts, the Guild Haps, and Tamen, Toes, Tickles joins us.
Right.
That's right.
Stop.
I am
Can we just do that
Barfolomew.
again? Stop. We're just going to start this over
All
again.
that was bad. 2 of those were accidental.
Okay. Yeah, can we like literally start from like welcome to like after the music stops?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Salmisis, why don't you tell us what our Salmisis, why don't you tell us what the audience has in store for them tonight?
In this episode, we have Vanilla Hype, your converted shoutouts, Turarts with the Guild Haps, and Tamen joins us.
That's right, everybody. I am Barfolomew the Paladin, and you heard her right, folks. Tamen, what you been up to recently, buddy?
Lots of things. Thrilo Midnight continues rolling along. We're 6.5 years in. Killing things in Eternal Palace. Maintaining all of the sites that I do for CTR. Yeah, good stuff.
Awesome.
That's going to be a lot of fun, man. We're going to dig right into that as soon as we're finished introducing Turarts the Hunter. T, what's going on?
Not much. I have been playing WoW retail, trying to grind out that Rust Bolt rep, and I just cannot get into it at all. But it'll happen eventually. It'll come. It's been a grind. And then, of course, a little bit of classic action today. So that is fun. I managed to beat the Q boss and get in and get things worked on. But Sal and Barf, I have a question for you, a little bit of a quiz, and I didn't prepare you for. So, not a year ago today, a year ago tomorrow, I was going through our stuff because I have to find clips of myself for a project that I'm working on. And our most popular clip is from a year ago tomorrow. Do you know what clip it is? Don't look, but take a guess.
Our most popular clip from our Twitch,
from our
Twitch
show. From our show.
That means someone would have made a clip, and it would have the most views.
It has 100. I think, or almost 100. Did you look?
No.
I'm looking at the chat room. I don't have it up at all.
I'm telling you right now what it is.
What is it?
It's Sal pouring one out for her homies and pouring the water straight into her lap.
It is not. That was a good one, though. That was a good one. Let me just double check.
That happened.
If I remember correctly, because I had to look at clips, our most popular clip is actually Attack of Mothra.
Oh, that was a
Attack
year
of
ago?
Mothra.
That was a year ago.
Nuh-uh. That was like last
Yep.
month.
Nope,
I don't
Attack of
recall-
Mothra. That was the one where I was sitting here in the other room and the moth came out and Sal's dying laughing. That was the most that's our most popular clip by a decent little
That was
chunk
like 3
too.
episodes ago.
No, it was like one, I don't know. It was a long time. It was when we had Ash on last. So however long that was. But yeah, it was a year ago. It was 1 year ago.
That was the one where like you.
Oh, I
muted
freaked.
yourself and you freaked out and you were like terrified, and I was like, what just broke into Turarts' home? What is she being attacked by? There's someone with a knife in her face or something. And you're like, it's a moth.
It was a big moth. It was huge. That clip did actually make the cut for the thing that I am working on. I was like, yeah, because they asked for, I can't remember, 3 or 4 different things. But yes, I was just dying laughing, and I watched it 3 or 4 times. But yeah, I thought that was interesting, like a random happenstance that I was looking under clips, and it just happened to be a year ago that clip made its debut. So, Attack of Mothra was a big one. But other than that, things have been swell. Swell. Just chugging along and excited to get into Classic and play the game. Since I came in Wrath, it's relatively new for me. There were some things that were the same, like certain mobs I remember were actually red and things like that. But it's very exciting to be back in Classic. If you have shout outs, make sure you get them to us. You can DM me, put them in our chat room, or get them to us on Twitter.
Awesome. On our way over to Sal Mises the Shaman. Sal, what have you been up to the last couple of weeks?
First of all, the very first thing I want to mention is that I am living for my favorite moment of the show so far, or maybe the past few months, just happened when Turarts was momming at the same time as she was podcasting. So she, like, in the background, she, her son brought to her the jug of water and a cup, and she was like pouring the water while talking to us and handing off the jug, and that was, that is some mom, that's mom to the 5th power.
I would have been happy to cut to you first, Sal, in order to alleviate some of the pressure off of T, but you know how I'm a slave to the script, so I do what I'm told.
His bedtime's bumped back an hour, and that's why he's up till 8:30 now. So he's up a little bit of the show now.
Okay.
Which is fine.
Okay.
He's good.
I'm sure Miles is fine.
Oh, yeah.
I just, you were momming, and I'm living for that. I'm living for you, like doing two things at once. Like a mom, like the mom you are. But I have a story to tell you. On our last episode, we had Jin. We had a very good explanation of the first half of the bosses of the latest raid. It's not Rise of Ashara. It's the Eternal Palace. Yes. So we had a really good time, and Barf, you gave me the recording. I edited it and made it sound really good. It was great. And then I tried to post it to our show, to our website for the RSS feed, and it wouldn't work. I'm not going to go to all of it, but I spent cumulatively 3 hours on the horn with tech support for our, who hosts us, GoDaddy. And at the end of it, I mean, not all at once, cumulatively over like 3 or 4 calls. And I got it like a peek at the debugging screen. And I asked, hey, like, what's this thing? Oh, no. It's just it's just a plugin. That wouldn't do anything, whatever. Anyway, we've reached the end of what I can really do for you in our tech support situation. What I really like to do is get the developers to take a look at it and like really do a deep dive. Unfortunately, that isn't free, and they wanted to charge me $50 to fix our GoDaddy account. I was like, what are you even talking about? Anyway, I got off the phone with this guy. And I said, I saw that debug screen and I saw something on there that looked weird to me. And I went and looked at the plugins, turned off one of the plugins, and everything works just fine. And I was able to load the show, post it, and get it on everyone's feed. 2 weeks late, but what I'm trying to tell you is that I am the god of tech support, and I did not spend $50 extra for GoDaddy tech support people to figure out what all I needed to do was look at the debug screen for 45 seconds, and I saw what was wrong. So I'm just saying, listen, you need me to fix anything, I got you. I'm there.
I completely agree with Dresden in the chat room right now. GoDaddy sucks.
GoDaddy sucks. Actually, the guy I talked to was pretty smart, but basically they were looking for really, really, really big problems, and the problem was actually something super tiny and simple. So they were overlooking the simple stuff to go for the big stuff, and I found the simple stuff. There you go. That is what I've been up to for 2 weeks, Barf. Well, I'd like to ask you the same question. What's up with you?
I did the opposite of computer tech support. I went camping.
Camping, yes, I saw those photos.
I had to wait until I got home to upload those photos because the campsite I was at had 0 cell phone reception the entire time. We were completely cut off from civilized society.
That's the best kind of campground.
It was well, all right. So there was that part of the reason it was the best campground, but there was another reason that made it the best campground. We were at a place called Ole Bull State Park. And not Old Bull, because that would end with a D. Ole Bull, O-L-E. And they are like a nationally recognized or nationally certified or something along those lines night sky park where it's dark as heck when you go there in the evening, nighttime type situation. It was so dark that the starlight that was hitting the area was bright enough to cast shadows off of the trees. Like it was the stars were here on purpose that night, man. Like both nights, although we went to bed kind of early on Saturday night because we had gone for a hike and we were wiped out. But it was a great trip. Made a bunch of food that was probably unhealthy, but that's what you do when you go camping. And spent a bunch of time hiking and looking at wilderness things. Silver found what is probably either a railroad spike or like a piece of mining equipment or logging equipment or something that's like a big rusted iron nail that by our best guess was probably used sometime in the late 1800s. And she was like, well, this is mine now. I'm keeping this. It's covered in rust. Looks like it's got barnacles on it. It's awesome. So that was my weekend. And then I came home from work this afternoon, tried to log into World of Warcraft Classic, fought the login boss for almost 3 hours, upset the entire rest of the household who was really interested in doing things like getting all the camping equipment unpacked. And then I started podcasting. So that was my day today. Was
your days today?
It was my day today. My day's activities.
Let's dig into that. Before we head into the Tamen interview or whatever, I think the four of us could talk about that. Of the four of us, and in chat room, you do the same thing. Raise your hand if you attempted to get into WoW Classic today.
For the audio listeners, me and T are raising our hands, and Tamen and Sal are looking at us like we're crazy.
Yeah. Crazy. And then we've got all these people in the chat room. Apparently I forced Ash to log out and now he can't get back in. And we've got folks say, yeah, they're raising their hands, still in the queue, they can't get in. You know, me and Tamen are just over here smiling like, hey, no queue for us. I've never been in a queue before ever.
Like I said, I will. I'll wait a couple of months and sign in when 90% of the player base is quit again, and then maybe enjoy it for a little while.
In fairness to all accusations of insanity that were probably going to be leveled against Turarts and I over the course of the next hour, we were trying our best to get in because Convert to Raid and a bunch of other communities, groups like Blood of the Scribe and Aliakta Est and for Azeroth, and I'm sure another half a dozen that I didn't just list, are trying to sort of come together across several servers across both factions to create sort of like a big like us, like this kind of a group community of guilds and of players. And a part of that, administratively speaking, is founding the guilds.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I mean, I understand.
that's like a day one
People have-
activity, right?
people have
Like that's the
fun,
thing
and
that you gotta.
And I won't sugarcoat anyone for having fun with now we're brushing our teeth on the street. That's amazing.
Oh my
I
god, we
won't
were talking
sugarcoat
about
I
mom
won't
mode.
sugarcoat anyone for wanting to enjoy Classic. Like that's have at it.
Turarts, ladies and gentlemen, in the audio audience, Turarts is literally brushing her son's teeth while on the stream.
Our
Super
dentist
mom mode.
says they can't do it well until they're 9, so he brushes them, and then I go through and I like
Just
let's see
double
what you
check.
missed.
Just make
Oh,
sure you got
yeah,
all the
just-
nooks and crannies.
I'll be perfectly honest. My 11-year-old can't brush her teeth that well anymore.
Yeah.
I'm 32.
how
I
much
haven't
I,
figured it out either.
Yeah, stand there with her like you missed a spot. No, you still missed a spot. Like kids.
Kids. Yeah, that's what's been all over, like Twitter and stuff today. Did you guys see that video that World of Warcraft put out on Twitter with the song? I feel like we
song?
should stop everything and do this. They put a video. It's like a 2-minute song, where a guy. It reminds me of like what they first did for Hearthstone. It's like we're sitting in a pub and we're singing a song about a game. Like they're on a pub with their big steins and singing.
I'm
and-
picturing you
and-
on the main stage of the Hearthstone stage this year at BlizzCon, Sal. Behavior like that, swinging steins around. I see it.
It doesn't take much to talk me into doing something silly. Like I don't need to for alcohol. I don't need. You just have to suggest it, and I'm there. Anyway, so
I saw that they posted it, but I didn't watch it because.
are you watching it now, Barf? Is that what's going on?
I was working all day.
No, I was
Sorry.
watching this thing with the hands and the noses over here in the bottom left.
Oh, you're talking about Turarts.
Yeah.
Miles is definitely a part of the show tonight,
Kid's getting
ladies
big,
and gentlemen, and he's huge. My gosh,
Hello.
and more miles on the podcast.
He's
is
like,
is
hold
what I'm
on.
trying to say.
Like he's up to my like.
Oh
peanut-
look, he's
mine.
so cool. Hi, Miles.
Do you say bye? Go lay down. I love you. Okay. Yes. One last time. Okay.
But this this video has a bunch of cameos in it of like World of Warcraft players.
I love cameos.
Some people the very first thing that you see, if you're not looking for it, the very first thing you have no choice but to see is Chris Narn, Hodor from Game of Thrones, because he's like this giant standing there,
Larger gentleman, yes.
yeah. And then you're like, okay, so there's famous people in this, and then you watch it over and over again and you realize, oh, wait a minute. So I immediately recognized 3 people. Matt Mercer's in it, Ronda Rousey, so then I went back and Patty Mattson is in it, aka Sylvanas, the voice of Sylvanas. So and now I'm like, oh, I need to watch it over and over again, because I bet there's a lot more that I didn't catch. There's a few that I think I caught, but I have to look it up, and like a few Twitch streamers and stuff. But
Yeah, why wasn't
it's
I invited?
great.
I know.
Okay, Draven Dresden says Songhammer was in it, and I looked for Songhammer, and unless they changed their hair,
We'll shoot our own.
I couldn't. Excuse me?
So we'll shoot our own.
We'll shoot our own. Oh, we should do that.
Yeah.
Done.
We should totally do that. We should shoot our own pub video. Listen, that is not beyond the realm of possibility for this podcast. We have done more elaborate things than sing a song. We had an entire hour and a half funeral for the last expansion.
It's true. Happened. I was here for it.
I don't see why you guys couldn't put something like that together at BlizzCon. I mean, there's got to be a pub somewhere that you can borrow for an hour.
Oh, there's pubs.
Right.
There's
I mean, if
there's
you don't borrow
definitely
the pub,
pubs.
you just show up with all of CTR. You could certainly get something done.
You know, we're heading out with a AIE this year.
Yeah.
We're gonna be hanging out with AIE, so we'll have
I
plenty of people.
I sadly won't be at BlizzCon this year, but
Tamen.
such is life. The Arizona's treasure hunt happens the same time of year and it's almost always on the same weekend.
Yes,
So
you've mentioned this before.
What is the
only-
Arizona treasure hunt?
it's a like puzzle solving event. You drive around the desert for 5 to 6 hours in the middle of the night, solve puzzles, and
Love
I
puzzles.
feel like this is a serial killer thing. This is
I'll
how they
link it.
get
I'll
all
link
out.
it. To you. Yeah, we've been doing. My wife and I and a bunch of friends have been doing it for since year 17, I think. I linked it in chat if you want to check it out. Yeah, it's on the Saturday night of that weekend. There's no way I could get there and back in time to not be exhausted. Yeah,
Well,
such.
we'll
came last year.
definitely miss you. So with the classic, so Turarts and Barf are trying to like get the CTR combination kind of guild thing going on. Get the guild charter. You got to get the money involved to be able to make this guild charter and get people to sign it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's 10 silver though, thank goodness. So it's not
You
terrible.
gotta work for 10 silver at level 1, man.
I'm gonna say, doesn't it take a minute to get 10 silver?
Yeah, it's
I'm
no
level
joke.
7 and I have it. So it takes a bit.
Okay, everyone's saying that soda poppin' you can see straight away. Songhammer, I need you to send me, Draven, please send me a photo of Songhammer on there, because if that's actually true, then they have changed what they look like. Songhammer is a two-person band. Who
Weren't they at
has,
one of the CTR party things?
Yes, they were.
at
They were dressed
least
in black
two,
and
maybe
red, I
three.
think, weren't they?
Yeah, they've got this whole like outfit that they do. Yeah, but the thing is, he does this like, one of them does this like hair thing. Anyway, I and the other one always wears sunglasses, so maybe I just didn't notice. Anyway, this is a cool video, and I'm excited for all three of you, to get to watch this video because it is fun. It is a lot of fun. And the fact that Patty Matson is in it, Sylvanas herself is in it, that means that Grand Nagus is going to cry and, put it on loop and never stop watching it. But Classic is happening, and I'll get in. I'm like you, Tom, and I'll get in. I will wait until the crowd subsides.
Yeah, like I'll probably eventually install it and go in and poke around, but I'm not gonna play with any.
I installed it.
I'm not racing for world first here or anything like. It's.
Okay, you know that Method believes
They've got like a. So I was watching Method. SCO has a squad stream going right now, and as of like an hour and a half ago, I checked in on it. He's got 4 people that are streaming together. One of them was in the game already, and the other three of them were waiting on server queues.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that makes me feel a little bit better, because it did seem like every streamer had no problem getting in. But if SCO in his crew,
SCO was playing retail. SCO was doing world quests when I checked in on him last time.
seriously, oh my gosh. Well, Method reckons that it's going to take them 11 days to level up, get attuned to Molten Core, get through Molten Core, and kill Ragnaros. So they're trying to go for the world's first new classic Ragnaros kill.
World first
11.
Ragnaros
Okay.
2019.
11 days.
Silliest thing I've ever heard of.
11 days seems extremely optimistic to me, but it is Method, and so
They've done the math.
I wouldn't put anything past them. Like,
Yeah.
They've done the math. They figured out like how long it's going to take, and what the most optimum way to get through everywhere. Like what quests to go to, and they, all that stuff. They've figured it all out, and they've hired people in Las Vegas. They're sitting in Las Vegas doing streams.
Yeah. I mean, I guess 11 days. You figure 1 to 60 in 5. 2 days to get a tune, 4 days to get through Molten Core, maybe.
And they're doing things in groups though too, like dungeons and things like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So it's gonna be
Yeah.
easier for them to get to 60.
And they're probably doing things like, tag sharing and stuff like that, where, one person tags a mob and 10 people kill it.
Certainly.
Those kinds of things to boost characters faster. I mean,
What's interesting is that in Classic, it's purely a numbers game because there's absolutely it's like impossible at this point in 2019 that there's any consideration given to the strategy. These bosses have like 3 mechanics apiece. We're used to, the world first guilds dealing with monsters that like there's so much to juggle that's a huge portion of the learning curve and the difficulty is trying to figure out what all these bosses do, first of all, and secondly, keep all of that in mind while you're trying to fight it.
yeah.
The hard part about these bosses in Classic is that they hit hard.
Yep.
The majority
your
of the
tank-
difficulty
is
is
that your
just that.
tank
It's
gets
just
crushed.
numbers.
Yeah, your tank gets crushed and everybody dies.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I mean, if Ashara had the same number of mechanics as Ragnaros did, Ashara would have died in a couple hours.
Yeah, easily.
Like the sheer damage output is just a different thing. So, I don't know. Like maybe they'll pull it off. Don't they? Or excuse me for not having rated in Classic. Wasn't Ragnaros 40 man?
Yes.
Yes.
Firelands 40 or Molten Core was 40 man. So they've not only got to get to that point, but they've got to get 40 people to that point to get through it in 11 days.
People are saying that they're not even going to try it with 40 people. They're going to try it with, like 25 or 30.
It was reasonable to think that in a 40-man team, 30 people were like
Carries.
not AFK, and of those 30 people, 20 of them knew what they were doing.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, that's our Classic talk for tonight, guys, and it's happened tonight. And by the time people are like listening to this, like on audio, which is by far the way most people consume this content, they'll probably know how Method's doing. Assuming the website still works, I'll get it posted pretty soon. But it won't be such a weird
Sal's
thing.
on the back end just disabling plugins at random.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we didn't need that one. That one is, yeah.
It was something that Belschnickel set up back in the day, and I clicked on it and said, huh, not only has this not been updated, this plugin, but its original website doesn't even work anymore. I'm guessing this plugin doesn't work, and it's blocking something, and I disabled it and got rid of it, and boom. That's all it took. I'm so smart. But
Yeah, I just checked it. I just checked in. Sko is currently standing in Dalaran. He's not even in his chair.
Goodness.
he's in good company. And in the chat room, Trainer Zunal says most of the Method people are still in queue, just like everybody else. I want to say something about my Twitter peeps. I haven't seen a single person even complain about this queue at all.
Mm-mm.
Like legitimately complain, like WTF, Blizz. Most people are like, "Yep, that's kind of what we thought it would be,"
And that's what I've been like. Mostly everything I've seen is people like, "Hey, I'm in a 45,000 person queue. This is really, really about what I expected, and I'm not bent out of shape about it at all."
I mean, Blizzard said, "Hey, you should expect this." I don't think they were saying 45,000 queue. They were saying queues of 10,000. But here's one. Ash says 22K was his queue a little while ago.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
First day. A week from now, Draven is saying 25K. Right, he's in 25K right now.
Yep.
So it's I think people expected this. I think it's fine.
Yep.
You know
It'll be
what?
different
In
tomorrow.
3 days, you'll be able to get in.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Realistically speaking, it'll all be different tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I think that's we've definitely done our job talking about Classic, the launch of Classic today, and now Barf, why don't you take it away to part 2 of our episode?
Well, I mean, I feel like the meat of the show here is our excellent and very special guest, Tamen, who I am given to understand is your very first appearance on the Converted.
Oh yes, very first. This is
For
my
real though, you've
this is
been
my
on like what, half a dozen
yeah.
times by now?
This is
You're on
my yearly appearance. Yes,
once a year?
I try to get on the show once a year. This one stretched out a little ways. I looked back and it was like April was the last time I was on.
Yeah, you like hit me up in April, and I pretended like I didn't see it.
Yeah. Well, and like Mondays are really weird for me, and so like you're always like, what about this day? And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not gonna work. So
That's
that
true.
it's a little bit you and a little bit me, and eh,
You
I
know,
I always enjoy my visits anyways, whether the scheduling gets changed, a problem.
whether or not you're wearing a silly hat.
I missed the big hat.
Right.
I was just
did
thinking that.
miss I have it up there somewhere. I can put this one on.
Uh-oh. Now he's
Yeah,
reaching for a hat.
I have a hat right here. I don't
Thrilling
know if
audio
this,
content.
This
So
won't
how's the
fit on
year
my-
treated you, buddy?
This won't fit on my headset though.
Oh, that's not the same hat.
No.
That's
No,
a
I have
great hat, though.
My horns are up there somewhere. I don't know.
He just put on a top hat with some
It's like steampunk
steam-
goggles. Yeah.
steampunk goggles. I'm into it. That's definitely going to be the goblin heritage armor.
Yeah.
God, big
If-
top hat that's like
if-
broken a little bit. I hope so.
If the Worgen heritage armor doesn't include a top hat and a monocle, I think there's going to be riots in the streets.
Yeah.
If there's not a monocle involved, just shut the thing down. Game's over. Just everybody unsub. It's
That's it.
right.
That's it. Oh man, I wonder if they'll release the numbers of how many people are subbed right now.
Well, if they do hashtag no changes, they used to announce those sorts of figures back in the day. So,
Highly unlikely.
I imagine this week we'll have a peak like we haven't seen since the beginning of Kata.
Probably.
You know, for like subscriptions.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, there's so many people coming back to the game just for Classic.
I don't know what it'll look like 4 weeks from now, but this week, yeah, it'll probably be bumping.
Well, yeah, and I'm not saying that there was, a sustained peak in Classic, because that is definitely not Classic. Cataclysm, because that's definitely not true. The biggest numbers that we know of were definitely Lich King.
Yeah, and the
But
listing.
but the beginning of like as Kata hit and people were like, we're gonna fly in the old world and stuff. Boom! All these people, that was like that's peak subs right there. What is it today? What is it this week? I hope they tell us. I hope they let us know. What is this? Draven Dresden says logged in, took screenshot, logged out. That's great. That's great.
Way to gum up the
good for
queue,
you.
Draven.
Oh well, Tamen, something that is important for us to mention is your work with the guild and what you do for the Convert to Raid community when it comes to websites. Can you remind us of that?
CTR progress site, man. Every tier I look at it and I go, this has got to be the last one. Like I can't keep this thing running, and then I do it, and it takes me like all of maybe a half an hour to get it all set back up again for another tier, and then every tier I'm like, oh god, I gotta go do that. It's like 2 days away from the release of the tier, and I'm like, oh god, I haven't done any of the art or anything yet for this thing.
Art.
You know, like,
Yeah,
yeah, I have to do like all the chiclets and all the background pictures and all that stuff. I have to wait for them to release the loading screen art every time too, and
Oh,
they always delay on releasing the loading screen art for some stupid reason instead of just releasing it when they do raid testing. And
As someone who, well, I don't do it. Turarts, please. Okay, first of all, Tamen, tell people what this raid progress site is.
So ctraidprogress.appspot.com pulls from the CTR website a list of raid groups and the rosters in each one of them, and generates not a ranking per se, since I was told long ago that rankings aren't good and we shouldn't ever make things like competitive or anything like that, but it basically ranks the raid groups based on progress through the raid.
This is definitely a ranking. Rectified is first.
Rectified's winning right now. But yeah, it's been going since we opened it in High Mall, I think. Zoo, was it High Mall? You said it was Zoo in chat. It's all Zoo's fault. The whole thing is all Zoo's fault. He was like, hey, what if we were to rank raid groups in CTR? And I was like, maybe that could be possible. And now we're 3 expansions in, so still running the thing. So
Okay, now Turarts,
4 expansions. 3
could you please explain to Tamen how important this site is to us?
Yeah, so whenever Esh does his raid reports, and I'm sure Tama knows some of this, like he's been watching it on the show for enough. But whenever Esh does his raid reports, he logs in and compares his notes from last week to what is on there, and that's how he pulls it. It's so important that when we had an API issue 6 months ago or something, the site went down because that's how it was pulling things. The non-tech person is talking tech, so this is going to be great. But the API issue caused the site to not be able to upload things in a way we could do that. So Ash's reports had to be done by just faith of people telling us what was happening when.
Oh, it was terrible.
It was a fun time. It was a great time, and Ash pulled through phenomenally. We use it for that. It is also something that I refer to when I do my recruitment events when people are asking, well, how good is this team? And I'm like, here's how they're doing this tier. Like, this doesn't tell you how good they are because, yes, it is a ranking, but it's a ranking of who is killing bosses, and maybe some teams stuck on a boss or have attendance issues. So I don't like to be like, this is how good it is. It's just this is who's killed this boss first. So we use it for that.
Someone asked me just recently if I could add dates to the kills and like actually rank by date killed. And I'm kind of loath to do it. I don't know. That feels. Yeah.
I don't think we need to track it personally. From like officer hat on, I don't think we need to. Like, I think just showing who's killing what is enough for the purpose we have.
Yeah.
But that's my like casual. I still don't have Rust Bolt experience yet. Opinion. So. But it's important that way. We use it for definitely the show. It gets used on a bi-weekly basis.
Yes.
Definitely for recruitment. People, I think, take a quick peek at it and see where teams are at. And I would imagine teams would, like, you guys are checking. I'm not on a raid team, so again, non-raid team talking about this. I imagine you guys are checking each other out, especially if you raid on the same day. I would be. I'd be like, oh, what's that other Wednesday night raid team doing? Just to see, like, but that's me.
Yeah.
So my point is, don't give up, Tamen. Don't give up.
It is an important website, but speaking of important websites, I hear you used to do another one. A rogue.
I did.
Why you know more rogue site? What's going on?
So it's probably since the last time we talked, we shut Shadowcraft down. It's been.
Yes.
I don't
And
know
that was it was like the rogue.
I don't know if it was the rogue website. I mean, it was definitely the rogue website back in the day. It kind of fell off a bit. I'd say probably as we came out of Warlords and character modeling became considerably more difficult with things like artifacts and Azerite power and that kind of stuff. You know, DPS modeling became much more challenging. We kind of fell down a bit. And you know, we hit a point in Legion where it just didn't make any sense to keep going. Like everything they add to the game makes somebody's life in that circle difficult, especially from a like I've got to pick Azerite powers on a thing on a website, and oh god, that sounds awful. And so, and you know, like I've 2 kids and a wife and a family and a job and everything else, and to maintain that was just so. There were like 3 or 4 of us working on it. We discussed together, and it was the right time to turn it off. And the rogue community had a good kind of eulogy for it. You know, like a bunch of people came out of the woodwork and said, hey, you know, like this thing bore out of God, what was her name now? It's probably brain fart. The spreadsheets in Wrath, you know, got turned into a website, and we ran it for 4 expansions, 5 expansions after that, and then it was time to turn it off. So such is life. Raid bots has basically taken over entirely everything that we were doing anyways, so that's fine.
I've been trying to use raid bots recently.
Raid bots is amazing.
But
Everything Siri is doing over there with that site, that dude is a freaking rock star. Like that dude is just absolutely killing it. So
I just want a website to tell me what to do. I don't want to put stuff in and figure stuff out.
I mean,
and
that's
sim things.
That's effectively raid bots. If you install the simulation craft add-on.
Yes, I did.
You know, you
No,
get a
I
new,
did.
you get a new piece of gear. You type /simc. You copy paste it into the website. You click the new piece of gear on the little top gear thing. You push the button, and it gives you a number.
That's a lot of steps, dude. And this used to be like Ask Mr. Robot. Like I had, paid for sub to this, right? In the last few times, pardon me?
Ask Mr. Robot. The people from Ask Mr. Robot and the people from the Shadowcraft / Simcraft universe have kind of there's a bit of an animosity there.
Oh, I know, and I can tell. It's very easy, but I'll tell you that Ask Mr. Robot. The last few times I've gone have not figured it out.
It's not. Yeah.
So
now raid bots is basically taken over that space of web-based simulation, and yeah, I mean they're doing a good job. The guy is doing it all by himself.
Oh wow.
Serial OS is doing all of that all by himself and manages the whole thing.
Dude, that is huge.
It's crazy.
Humongous. Jeez.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. I mean, it's such a massive undertaking.
Every time he adds something to it, I'm like, man, where did you find the time? Where did you find the time to add like another feature to this thing? Like he added that Droptimizer thing that like I load my character and I want Ashara Palace stuff and heroic mode and push a button, and it does all the combinations of all of everything and says these are the bosses you should be rolling your coins on. Like okay, like where did you find the time to do this thing? Apparently more people have more free time than I do.
Same.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of free time, I know we kind of dove into Classic a little earlier about this, but you brought something up in the pre-show that I kind of wanted to dig into a little bit. I saw some of the conversation around the AMA that the folks were talking about how, hashtag no changes was like this really great idea, but you know what? What if we made some changes? You brought up the Encourage Scepter. I was curious to know kind of where you landed on this, because a lot of the debate was in the AMA was in 2019. We know what it took materials-wise to open AQ. When that content was first launched, no one knew what to expect. Blizzard said, okay, here's what you got to do. And like that day, that was when everyone learned about it, and then they started grinding materials. But now, like the game launched today, there are people starting today to grind those materials so that when AQ comes out, they can just, bam, suddenly have a scepter like day one. So
that is a good point. That is going to change. AQ is that back in the day, you know, like you picked it was basically like you picked a person per side on the realm. You picked
Yeah.
a person on the Alliance side and a person on the Horde side, and everybody banded behind that person to get the scepter to open the gates. And can you imagine in 2019 on a server full of streamers where everybody is trying to create their own content and, you know, appease their subscribers and everything like that, and you're not the guy that
Right.
gets to open the scepter? Like, can you imagine the drama? Like,
Is it only
this
one
is like
person, or is it like a time
prime-
limit?
It's 3 days, I think, right? Is it? I'm not entirely. Again, I didn't play in Classic, but I think it's the number of days after the gong is pushed the first time that everybody who has a scepter can hit it and get the rewards for it.
Mhm.
But if you're not prepared, like
yelled and warned.
like popcorn, like prime popcorn eating drama mode, like sit back and enjoy the watch of that, because it's gonna be like
But it's so so much different though because
Yeah.
of the lead time people have on this.
Yeah. Because everybody knows what they have to do now.
Right.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
like Barf says, you like if people are already prepping, you know, like people are already prepping to know what they need to do to get the thing open, then, you know, maybe day one you're gonna have like 50 people that can open that can
Right.
ring it, you know. So, or maybe they'll all have banded together and made a pact not to ring the thing before everybody else is ready. I don't know, but God, if it was the same where you couldn't open it, like only one person got to do it, holy cow. Good luck with that drama bomb. So
It's going to be a lot of fun to see how all these streamers play out. With a lot of them decide to be on the same server, so Classic is going to be a very interesting beast for all the tricks and tips we know, and all these people on the same server going after the same thing.
yeah.
A
I was
question.
watching. I poked
Okay.
into Shroud's stream for just a couple of minutes earlier, and he and the two people we were playing with were standing in a group of 30 people waiting for a mob to spawn so that somebody could tag it so that they could get on with it. And I'm like, this is amazingly compelling content you're creating here. We're watching you write a target macro and spam it to try to tag one mob so you can get on with your leveling process.
I saw several screenshots of people standing in a queue, standing in a line, characters in a video game lining up so they can interact with a
NPC or yeah.
and with an NPC for a quest. Standing
That's
in
courteous.
a line. And I'm like, this has gotta be EU. There's no way this is in America. No way.
Yeah. I don't know. Hooray, that lovely Classic experience. So.
You
Well,
can have it. Go ahead.
I say bringing it back to current times. You ran a rogue website. Your color's yellow in our chat, so we obviously, I think that means you play a rogue. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Well, we have a question, and you know, I know a lot about rogues since I obviously play a hunter, and it's the same thing.
Right.
What is the
Steal all
best?
of our weapons.
Obviously, yeah, obviously. What is the best rogue? Is it the assassin, the thiefy one, or the arcane trickstery one?
That depends on what you're doing.
Well, I just want the best in general. Like, just
There is no best, unfortunately. If you're doing mythics and mythic pluses, you're probably playing an outlaw rogue at this point. Like, and if that's the only thing
which
you're doing,
one is that? The thiefy one or
that's
the?
the piratey one.
I don't have
The
pirate.
one
I have
with the
thiefy,
gold
assassin-y.
bones.
That would probably be the thiefy one.
Okay, so what's the assassin-y one? Where
There's
does
the
that one rank?
assassin is amazing for raids right now.
And what about the arcane trickster mage wannabe one?
The sub rogue, I don't know. Sub has always suffered from the spec is very complicated, and most of the time that means if you can master it, you're very, 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 very good, and you can make up for it being complicated with skill. Now it's kind of the same on par as Assassination, you know, difficult or like ability to perform wise, and Assassination is so much easier to play that I don't know why you would play sub right now. It's just it's so hard to play that, and if I can do the same numbers with Assassination, why would I bother? So Assassination is, to be honest, kind of boring, but it's also performs very, very well at high level. So
Is that also true of leveling, or is that just like high level play?
not necessarily. I mean, sub is difficult no matter what you play it in. Sub has like a very small niche. Zool in Oldir was the perfect example where sub can generate combo points so fast and dump them into one target that you're going to be blowing everybody else out of the water. But as soon as you get out of that niche, there's not really any reason to play it outside of just wanting to beat your head against being difficult. Outlaw and Assassination are both really easy to play in the leveling process. Outlaw is a bit better AoE. Assassination is a little bit better single target. So just depending on what you're doing.
I remember in the last expansion you were saying that Outlaw was not a viable spec. And you
Outlaw was
wouldn't
not a
even,
viable spec.
and you wouldn't even discuss it.
I remember that.
Outlaw and Warlords suffered very heavily from the RNG component of Roll the Bones, and it suffered very badly for it. That if you weren't rolling very well on your one primary your one primary ability, you're doing terrible DPS. And so why would you play that if you're just like your variance bar is gigantic?
Yeah.
But now they've fixed it a little bit. The roll bones isn't quite as I guess it's not quite as random. So it's not terrible.
Well, let's let's talk about the reason you've got so many fans in our chat room tonight, all here to troll you.
I am disappointed in the lack of trolling, by the way. I'm just going to
I don't
say
know
that
where-
now.
It's
I'm
all
so,
just kind of
so
friendly.
disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, I am so disappointed. Anyway,
I'm not sure.
continue.
I'm
Sal.
not
Blame
sure.
myself.
I'm not sure where everybody is right now.
Threat Level Midnight is one of the OG CTR raid teams.
Yes.
And we're very happy that so many teams, so many of like the original teams are still like totally going strong. I mean, so many. It's kind of weird how many are like of the the first teams are still like very prominent teams in our guild. Let's talk about Threat Level Midnight. Tell us,
Okay.
what are your goals? What do you do? Yeah.
For a bunch of years, we really kind of said that we were a raid team with mythic dabbling. Now I would say we're just a heroic raid team. We push to get an AOTC every tier. Most of us don't really want to do mythics at this point, and so we just kind of get our heroic AOTC. We do a bit of farm. We'll maybe take a couple of weeks off in between each tier, and that's fine. Like I said, we're all getting old.
Well, you are
and
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I turned 40 last year. What the hell?
Dude.
And like we just life catches up to everybody. So, but yeah, we've gotten AOTC every single tier since Siege. Or Throne of Thunder. Since Throne of Thunder. We missed it in Throne of Thunder. Since Siege of Orgrimmar, we've gotten AOTC every single tier since then.
Oh man, the Thunder King.
And
yeah,
I spent multiple days wiping on the Thunder King, hoping to get a heroic kill at the end of that expansion. And Zoo in chat is saying just don't, because he did the same. He was there with me, in a party wiping on the Thunder King over and over and over and over again.
Dude, I'll tell you, I understand your almost certain frustration with that, but I'll tell you that Thunder King was a pretty good fight.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was.
It was interesting. There was so much going on. Like everyone had to do the right mechanics, but the mechanics weren't like impossible to do. You just like you just had to do them. But then it was hard if you had to like there were so many things that like moved you around, and if you couldn't cast while moving, that was, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
really a really good fight.
I'm a rogue. I don't have that problem. But,
For that expansion, as an elemental shaman, I didn't have that problem.
yeah.
It was after that expansion where they glued me to the ground.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like we're still kicking along. We have your personnel problems like every raid team does these days. We had a couple just recently here in Phoenix that moved, and they were like realized that, oh god, moving is a large bit of work.
yes.
Unfortunately, one of them was a main tank and one of them was one of the healers, and they were
Ouch.
like, we gotta take a break for a bit and get this move sorted. And I was like, ow. So we're absorbing that a bit, and people are on travel and taking vacations through the summer. And Shadowfell, who's Catfish John over here in the chat, he owns a bar in Milwaukee, or he owns multiple bars in Milwaukee, a bar and a restaurant. I don't know. So he takes the summer like, this is my busy season. I'll see you guys in October. So yeah, so he's coming back now, but he's our demon hunter, and I'm dying for a freaking magic damage buff right now. God.
You
He's
guys
like,
are
I'm back, we good.
good. So you guys are recruiting then, possibly?
We are kind of always recruiting.
But you guys are kind
we
of a late night team.
We are a very late night team. We raid
Oh,
9
that's
p.m.
right.
9 p.m. to 1 a.m. Arizona time. Which, because all of the rest of you still do that stupidity called daylight savings time, means the raid times changed for everybody else but me. So it's right now it's 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. server. In the winter it's 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. server. Which is, the East Coast people get screwed on that transition, but
You have East Coast people in your team?
yeah, our other main tank lives in Florida.
What,
She
they would have
raids,
raided like 4 a.m?
yes.
Oh my gosh.
She raids right now midnight to 4, and then is a functioning adult in the daytime, and I don't know how she does it.
That's
Liar.
impossible.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I know how she does it.
Yeah, Zoo lives in Indiana. He raided with us for the same like time in Indiana. I don't know what time it is in Indiana. It's not Eastern time, right?
Central time. That's
Central.
my time. So
Central
you're
time,
3
right.
a.m. Jeez.
That's
So
where my
yeah,
grandma
yeah,
lives.
it's 11 to 3 a.m. Yeah, I don't know how. Like 1 a.m. 1 a.m. is rough for me. Like
I wake up
1
to go to
a.m.
the bathroom and you guys are still in the middle of a raid.
Yeah,
Dang.
1 a.m. and then getting up at 6 a.m. the next day is pretty brutal. But we've been doing it now for, what did we decide, 6 years? So hasn't killed me yet. But, yeah.
Bless you.
Well, I think before we let you go, I know who's on your team. Sal and Barf, I mean, we had Eshelon last year. We know who's on your team. We've been through your roster many a times. You've done this website for us where you track who's killing what. So obviously you kind of have familiar, I'd say, with tiers and the way bosses go down and stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right.
So I'm going to do some throwbacks. You may not have played in vanilla,
Oh boy.
but I have some vanilla questions for you.
Okay, Amy.
Who, or not who, I guess, what was the longest raid before it finally got down for a world first? Bonus points if you can guess how many days.
Gonna guess Nax.
What would you say the days? Just throw it.
Oh God. I mean, only like 0.01% of the player base ever even saw the inside of Vanilla Nax.
True.
I would probably say it was a good 3 or 4 months. I don't
Well,
know.
you're wrong on both on the raid. The raid is
Wow.
actually Molten Core. And it was
Wow,
you're
really?
close
I was
on the
gonna guess
time,
Molten Core.
154 days, so almost 4 months.
Damn.
But yeah, Molten Core took forever, and it was actually Ragnaros that did it because people had a pretty good click up until Rag, and Rag just caused people to just
Yeah,
want to lose themselves. What was I have 3 questions.
that's
What
impressive.
was the last 40-man raid?
Was the last 40-man raid would have been Gruul? The Gruul or Megatherodon and Burning Crusade. No? It was later than
According,
that?
actually, it says that Nax was the last 40-man instance.
Was it? I thought one of the single boss instances in Burning
No,
Crusade were 40s.
just Nax.
I only ever got through Kara in
I was
Burning
gonna say
Crusade.
that, and
Oh, you
that
got through
one's
the best
definitely
one.
not 40.
I got through Kara and
Kara
like the
was 10.
first 2 bosses of whatever the next troll raid after that was.
Zul
Zulaman,
something.
that was 15, I think.
Zulaman. Yeah. Yeah, those are the only 2. Those are the only 2 raids, like full raids I ever saw in that expansion. I was a scrub back then. I mean, I'm a scrub now, but I was more of a scrub back then.
Now, part of the reason Nax wasn't the longest raid is because it was only live for 90 days, and then they nixed it. So that was
Okay.
kind of a trick question, but
That was
yes,
a trick question. That's not fair.
no one really like Nax really did not get love. I'll
No
just
one
leave it
ever
at
saw
that.
it. No one ever saw the thing. That's why. I mean,
There was a raid team that did, but yeah, it wasn't a lot. Like you said, 0.1%. It was awful.
Yeah.
My last question for you: the U.S. dominated the race to world first. However, eventually the EU came in and started dominating. Which raid did the EU get the first world first kill over U.S.?
oh, good God. I have no idea. Probably something in Wrath.
Could you tell us when?
It was in vanilla, so it was
It
vanilla
was
that they
in
overtook.
vanilla.
And the U.S. I think has had some kills since then, but that's when we finally lost.
Have they? I don't even think they have since
I don't know. I want to say they have, but they probably haven't.
Insidia and I doubt. It wouldn't have been Vash because Vash was Serpent's Shrine in Burning Crusade. Man, I don't know. I have no
Temple of
idea.
AQ
Really?
by
So
a
that's
day.
AQ 20, right?
I have no idea, because I just wrote down Temple of AQ by a
think-
day.
I think
So
Temple was
Huh.
20.
Temple is the 20.
still
I
a
think.
raid. So
Oh no, Ruins was
Yeah.
20 and Temple was 40. Chat will
That-
catch up in a second and they'll tell me how dumb I am. It's fine.
Yeah.
I have-
Yeah. NA is not very good at this. To tell you the
No.
truth.
I think I don't know if we've had very many.
I was really hoping Limit would pull it together this tier, but
They were close.
They
It
held
was a
their own
close
for
race.
sure.
that's how it is. You know.
Well, thank you for playing. We know who's on your team, so I had to think outside the box. And
Yeah, I could list them all out for you again, but that's just the same. I think we've done that content every single time I've been on the show. I do love those guys though. They try me sometimes, I swear.
I am
Every once in a
Swear at
while I'm
them?
like why do I keep doing this to myself? Why do I don't know. Why do I keep this thing going? And
very
then we
disappointed in their lack of trolling tonight, though. Like
I
very
know. I don't know where
disappointed.
they all are.
Like-
I'm really like they had
They're in queue,
ample
man.
warning.
They can't get in.
They're here.
had-
They're just being nice.
I know.
Yeah,
Like what is that?
they had ample warning. Yeah, Sook sometimes heals while looking at Roller Girl. And it distracts us all with Roller. Raid falls apart for a couple minutes.
Sorry, distracts you with what?
Roller Girls. Hang on, I got what song is that, Sook? Give it to me, Sook. I know you got it bookmarked.
Oh, it's a song. Roller Girls is a song.
It's a YouTube cast distract. Thanks, Sook. Yeah, Chet Faker Gold. Go watch the music video for Gold by Chet Faker, and you'll
Gold by Chet Faker.
Yes.
Okay, I'll put it in the show notes. Gold by Chet.
You will
Faker.
understand. There I pasted it in chat. You will understand the distraction that hits our raid team. Honestly, where you're just like, God damn it. Yeah, we have our bad nights. We have our good nights. we had a kind of come to Jesus meeting during BOD where it was like, are we gonna carry on with this thing? Because we're playing awful for like 3 weeks in a row, and I don't want to come and be awful. So it's been a lot better since then.
Good. Well, I think I have asked my questions. Barf, Sal, do you have anything else?
Nope. Take it on home, Barf.
This has been really a fun interview. Seriously. It's always a ton of fun to have you on the show, man. You always bring such a cool basket of info with you. Before we let you go, how can the world find you on the internet?
I am. Oh God, I don't even know anymore. I am Tamen. Tamen CTR on the Twitters. I don't stream. I am on Twitch, but I don't stream. ctraidprogress.appspot.com. raidgroupinfo.appspot.com. I am on all of the Discords and all of the things as me. Yeah. If you're looking for a really late night raid group and you don't mind staying up until 4 o'clock in the morning, you know, we are here. It's only one night a week. I'm just saying.
It's the one night a week that I have to get up super early the next day. I
Yeah.
get 2.5 hours of sleep.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Wake up for raid and then stay up. More
I
sense
could.
to
I
that,
could go to bed at
honestly.
8:30.
Here's a really funny story. Volstats, who playing a warrior for us this tier, is on work travel to. He lives here in Arizona. He's on work travel to Maryland for 3 months.
Oh my gosh.
And so he gets off work, goes to bed. He gets off work early, goes to bed until like 3 to 11, and then gets up and raids, and then just stays up and goes to work the next day.
Nope. Good for him.
Man, that's a man with a
Works for him.
superpower.
No way.
More power to him, because I could not do that.
No.
I appreciate that. I appreciate his sacrifice in that we can have a battle shout, because we were doing the scroll thing for all of the damage buffs for a while there, and it was so I'm glad to have a battle shout.
And the pleasure of his company.
The pleasure of his company. Yeah, he is a very good warrior.
Before we switch over to the guild haps and the raid report and all that, do you have any shout outs that you wanted to drop on us real quick?
I don't have any shout outs other than to TLM to keep doing your thing. You guys test me on a multi-day per week basis, and we managed to keep killing bosses. So we're 3 of 8 heroic now. We're hoping to get Ashbane down tomorrow or Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. It's only Monday, isn't it?
It is only Monday.
All the days run together anymore. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks again so much for coming out for your, like we said at the beginning of the show, your yearly appearance on the Converted.
I have it on my calendar for this year. So next year, I'll look back and see when it was.
Start bugging Sal.
Yeah, well, I'm sure if anyone will hear about it, it'll be Sal.
It'll be Sal.
All right.
Perfect. All right, man. Thanks so much for coming out and hanging out with us tonight. We're going to switch over to T so she can hit us with all the guild haps.
All right.
Take care, bud.
See ya.
Bye.
All righty, T. I think I got a sounder for you, even. Maybe.
It's time for tea.
Yeah, there we go. It happened.
All right, so guild haps, we had a town hall yesterday. I just want to briefly touch base kind of on what we talked about a little. Number one, raiding in Classic, not going to be a thing yet. It's something that's on our radar, but we just don't know how it's going to look. The raid stuff that's on retail or live or whatever you're calling it, still going strong. Keep doing that. Invites for Classic right now are going to be open invites, so if you see someone with a tag, which we'll be announcing guild stuff soon, whisper them, they should be able to invite you. For Classic, as we kind of hinted at in the beginning, we're doing a conglomeration of guilds coming together for one community. Our servers are Peggle for your PvE Action Alliance and Horde, and Whitemane for your PvP Action, which means you have to choose a side, and obviously you want to choose the better side of the Alliance with me, so we can take down...
Guys.
Yes, the good guys. So we can take down Pat and Barf, who have turned to the dark side. I think that's everything. We do have a Discord, and that Discord, we'll get a link to, and we'll get it in all the places. If you're in our CTR Discord, it's in all the places in the CTR Discord. So be in the CTR Discord and just go look in there. But I think that's all kind of the wrap up of what we did in the meeting. Things are kind of moving along as normal. Looking into events, check out that guild calendar, guild.converttoraid.com, because we are going to be having some fun events coming up with AIE. And the reason I'm telling you this now is because it is going to take some prep work for you to participate in some of these events. So you want to make sure you're watching the guild calendar. We'll be announcing it on the show. We're working on some of the final planning thingy stuff, and we will have details out for you soon. But it is very exciting. I'm looking forward to teaming up with them again, since our For the Alliance was such a success. CTR 7-year anniversary is only 5 months away, and I know you're looking at me like I'm crazy. Why am I talking about this now? Here's the thing. We have coming up holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, BlizzCon's in there as well, Halloween. That's going to make the end of this year go super fast. School's starting soon, which means if you have kids like me, it's going to be going quick. Then we're into January, and that's when the CTR anniversary is. So I know 5 months feels like a long time, but there's a lot of events we do, a lot of donations that we ask for, so trust me, it is going to go quite quick. If you have ideas for events or donations you want to give to us, just go ahead and throw them my way. Turarts on Discord or in game if you want to mail stuff. The 15-year WoW anniversary is in between all of that madness. Yes, we'll be doing events. What we'll be doing, we'll be running the raid. How that's going to look, I don't know yet, because I don't know how the raid's going to look, other than we have 3 wings going on, and that's kind of all I really know. So we will get information out as we know. Depending on my life situation, I'll definitely be running it at least a couple times, if not more. I'm sure other teams and groups will be running those raids as well. So there will be stuff happening. I'm going through everything. I think that is just about it. Watch that guild calendar, watch our guild Twitter, and if you go into the Discord, make sure you head to the welcome wagon and type in !rank space CTR space guild, and you'll get yourself not only a fun blue color, but then we can ping you when events are happening. Barf, how'd I do with that meeting that we had yesterday? I think that summed everything up pretty nicely.
That was a lot of,
Okay.
I think that was all the big points. Absolutely.
Perfect. Because it's 45 minutes into like 3 seconds. Go watch the meeting though. It was good. We talked about a lot of stuff. So go watch that meeting. Yeah, that's my event news. I think raid report next. Are we ready for that?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm going to mispronounce all these names, so bear with me here real quick. We have a lot of action happening with Queen Ajara Normal Down, Rules Gone Wild, and Rubber Chicken Coalition. Congratulations. Savara Heroic is HTX. We have a couple teams who've taken down the Behemoth on Heroic, the Troublemakers, Salad Senate, Threat Level Midnight, and Gluttons for Punishment. Hump Day Heroes have taken out Orgozoa, Org something. Bacon and Kegs, Resolve, Hydro Volunteer Fire Department, and Fallen Knights are taking down the Queen's Court on Heroic. Standard Dragon Protocol, Project Failsauce, and Dark One's Own Luck are rounding out the heroic kills with Harbinger. Sure. Moving into Mythic kills, Facepole has taken down Savara, and Rectified is up to Behemoth down. That is your raid report.
Sweet.
Go team. Shout outs, get them to us if you haven't already. I'm not seeing any on the Twitter sphere.
There are no Twitter mana buns this week, Turarts.
No Twitter mana buns. Do we have chat room mana buns coming? Harbinger? I don't raid. I don't know what's going on. And Orgozoa.
You know what? Navox is my favorite troll.
Navox is a.
But he's
Yeah.
trolling.
He is. I don't know how these.
I don't think he's a troll. I think he's just
Harbinger.
he just throws
So there's
the
a double
knowledge.
Harbinger. I don't know. There's
Harbinger.
a lot of
Harbinger. Harbinger's a word.
Orgozoa. That reminds me of what was that? What was the Orgorger? That's it. It's the Orgorger of. I don't even know what.
Yeah, the
Orgozoa
Goron from
is.
the cave.
Same thing. Same things.
With the bomb flowers.
Oh, that was a fun little fight, wasn't it? Oh
No,
man,
Tamen,
I
I
love
don't
it.
think that was a boss. I don't think that was a boss in WoW.
I am not seeing any shout outs from the chat room, so I think we can dance on over to the next segment.
Well, the next segment is shout outs from you guys. What do you guys got for us tonight?
I want to shout out to all my guild members who are wasting their time in Classic right now. No, I am joking. I hyperbolize my disdain for Classic. I don't have any disdain whatsoever. If you are, if you're looking forward to this and having fun with it, more power to you. I'm excited for you. I'm going to be collecting pets. For some reason, I'm on a pet collecting
Ooh,
rampage right now.
I love
I'm
collecting
going
pets.
through- I haven't collected pets this expansion at all. And then I realized I had capped the pets out. I had to purge about 100 pets in order to collect. I'm just going out in the field and collecting pets. So I've got something like 850 or something unique
Nice.
pets. Yeah, and there's got to be more than 1,000 pets out there. There has to be.
I've been
Because
told
I'm running
I have
out.
a lot of the ones you can buy off the auction house, not so many of the ones you have to go out and actually battle. Because someone tried to give me a gift once, so like, you have all the ones I had. I'm like, I don't know. I just buy things off the auction house when I go, oh, it's cheap, mine. So
No, I just went out through Najatar and started randomly collecting pets, and I'll do the same in the Mechagon soon. And then I'll go back to the Broken Isles, and then I'll go to I don't think it's going to take long for me to. There's an achievement for 1,000 unique pets, and I'm
Ooh.
just going. I don't think that would take that long. There's so many
There's a
pets, but
ton.
you cap out at 1,000. So for the next expansion, they're gonna raise that cap because there's got to be at least 1,000 unique pets. Oh, there's an achievement for getting 1,000 unique pets. So anyway,
Does
I'm
it
not
award
sure.
anything?
Yes, it awards another pet, so that means you'll have 1,001 pets.
So there's no possibility of having exactly 1,000 pets.
You have to cage some of them.
There's no. Barf is right, because the moment you hit 1,000, another one comes in your inventory. Well, I mean, unless they send it to you in the mail or something, I don't know.
You have to take one that you've
But-
already earned and throw it in the trash. Then you'll have exactly 1,000.
I'll tell you that I did hit I hit the limit for the number of pets you're allowed to have, right?
But not unique
and
ones.
But not you. Right. Okay. But then I got an achievement, and I can't remember. This happened a couple nights ago, but I had 1,001 pets. When I learned or automatically got that one pet, so I did have 1,001 pets because of the achievement. But then I caged or got rid of about 100.
Okay.
Now I'm back
Dang.
down to something else. But I should just send all these pets to you, Turarts.
I am
That I
taking
have.
donations. So
Well, speaking
That's
of Turarts,
wonderful.
what do you got in shout-outs, Turarts?
I'm gonna shout out to all the officers and people who are coming together for this classic. Just like I was there in the beginning in the sense that I got invited quick into CTR, but I was not a part of the officership for a couple weeks, months, about 2 months in. So I imagine this is going to be a lot like those opening days of CTR. So thank you for stepping up and for bearing with us as we barrel on into Classic and try and figure out what we're actually doing and realize we maybe we're not quite. I think we're pretty prepared though. I don't think we're not prepared. I think we're pretty prepared. But
Illidan
yeah,
says
shout out to you
otherwise.
all. Love me some Illidan.
My
Go ahead, Barf.
my shout out is to somebody who's been doing a lot for us, somebody who's been making sure that the show is posted up on the internet so that the people can listen to it, somebody who's never let us down, and no matter how many times we say something bad about them, and that's GoDaddy. Thank you so much, GoDaddy, for all the hard work. And that's going to wrap us up for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank Navox and Geek Chic Lisa for our theme music. You can find us on Twitter at @converted_CTR. Turarts is at Turarts. Sal is at @summer_Sal. Esh is at Eshelon, and I am at a bonus level. Sal, when's the next episode?
Barf, our next episode is September 9th. That's a Monday night, by the way. We're going to continue the rest of our Eternal Palace coverage, including Mistress Ashara herself. And the reason we're doing that is because Tamen refused to talk about it tonight.
It's true. That happened.
That's an exaggeration. I said, hey, do you want to talk about this? He said no. So we didn't. So we're going to do it next week.
Perfect. Well,
that's how the conversation went. So we're just pausing that and doing it in 2 weeks.
Perfect. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, everybody. For Turarts.
Bye.
For Eshelon, who's not here, he says bye. For Sal.
See you later.
And for myself. We'll see you next time, everybody.
You can follow the show on Twitter at converted_CTR. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Converted Podcast. And find us on our Twitch channel, Converted Podcast. And join us live every other Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern.
This podcast is a part of the Signals Media All-Star Network. For more information on this and other fine shows, go to signalsmedia.com. It's okay to stick our stuff in your ears. Really?